So what we have here is bloodroot, Sanguinaria canadensis. Bloodroot, along with a lot of other names that it has to do a lot with the color. If you were to break off a stem, and especially the roots, you get this bloody red color that's been used by a lot of different things to dye things. Was even used by people, even though some people does cause a dermatitis reaction. They think that perhaps it may have even been one of the reasons heavy use by indigenous people to help with the term red skin to come about. But regardless, puccoon, which is another Native American Indian word for red, sometimes called red, war paint. It was called all sorts of different kinds of things. But bloodroot is a spring ephemeral. It comes up and does all of its work while the trees have not completely leafed out, stores up its energy in its roots, and then it dies back. The flowers, in fact, only last for a couple of days. We were lucky to find these because even though they're pretty, I mean, the slightest wind, the petals fall off and so forth. That would be a problem, but since it can self-pollinate, which does lead, of course, to some inbreeding, but it at least does produce seed, even if no pollinator happens to visit it because the petals have flown off or whatever. Once it does produce a seed, it forms a little pod, and each pod has these seeds. This is a myrmecoccus plant. Myrmecoccus meaning it's dispersed by ants. The seeds grow a little attachment called an elaiosome, and these elaiosomes contain certain kinds of proteins and lipids, and even some pheromones in some cases that certain species of ants find delectable. And so the ants come by, they grab the seed, take it back to their den, their nest, pull off the inedible part, just the seed, eat the elaiosome, take the seed and then dump it into their trash bins. The trash bins being protected now. It's been not only spread, it's protected underground. It's been planted in nice, rich, fertile areas because those little dumping grounds, of course, are full of trash that will decompose. And so the ants help spread it. In fact, some tests showed that about a 30% better chance of germination if the elaiosomes were moved by an ant or otherwise than it would be just regularly. So this is a pretty neat little plant, bloodroot. It's very fleeting. It's one of the first flowers to bloom in the springtime, and again has a ton of different uses. It's been used a little bit now for cancer research. It seems to have some anti-plaque abilities, and because of that, it was one of the it was used in a product, a kind of toothpaste called Viadent toothpaste, believe it or not, for a while. Another name of it is snakebite, due to its very strong bitter taste. Again, it's those poisons that it has inside. But people used to mix it sometimes with brandy or something else and take it as a spring tonic, thinking it would be a kind of a cure-all. But again, a very neat plant. What's not visible here is kind of hard to see. I'm going to see if I can move a couple of leaves. But the actual leaves themselves, when it comes up, actually wrap around the flower, and that's led to another name for this plant, papoose flower, because the plant wraps itself around much like a papoose, protecting a baby, as it were. So again, this is one of those other names for this very, very common plant. So we're lucky to have caught it. It's a fleeting little beauty, but we were lucky enough to catch a patch of it here, and it may be gone after tonight's rains. But a beautiful plant, bloodroot, one of our native spring ephemeral wildflowers here in Virginia. And this is April 4th, 2016 in Arlington.